laws based. One second.
Public morality is an illusory construct and regulation based on it is irrational.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Sayam Jain here, and with me is my partner Raj, and we are the proposition side for the same.
Okay, brilliant. If we will be posting the link on the debate club page momentarily, and you could share that page with friends, family, have them watch. I will be muting all of you, and we will be beginning formal procedure. Okay, thank you. The link has been posted, and we are beginning with our formal session right. Good afternoon, one and all here. I am Srivatsan, a representative of the Debate Club, and we, the representatives of the Debate Club, are the ones who organize the debate and the Changemakers Conference every year. And we are here to present to you Summer Debating Madness. All you participants have gone through various rounds to reach this stage of the final of Summer Debating Madness, and we will be beginning our debate on the topic. This house believes that public morality is an illusory construct and regulation based on it is irrational. In the proposition, we have Mr. Raj Bagdi and Sayam Jain, and in the opposition, we have Rohit and Navneet Krishna. Welcome. We will be going in the same formal procedure as the usual Summer Debating Madness debates, but we will be a little more lax on the time limits. The proposition will begin with their opening statement right now. Proposition, you may begin, and Mr. Sayam Jain, the floor is yours. I request all other participants please not unmute themselves till we do so. We tell you to do so.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, Mr.
I would like.
Yeah, Mr. Sayam. Yeah, you may begin.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sayam, and with me is my partner Raj, and we believe that public morality is an illusory construct and regulation based on it is irrational. First, let me start with the definition of public morality. Public morality refers to the moral and ethical standards enforced in a society by law or police work or social pressure and applied to public life, to the content of the media, and to conduct in public places. So basically, it means that individuals are expected to follow what a large part of the society thinks is right, irrespective of his or her own opinion. The way I see it, models and societies are ways to control people. For example, if you brought up a nice Jewish boy in a Hitler youth camp, he saw nothing else, he would become a Nazi. To be considered publicly moral, individuals are expected to follow some guidelines that the society has laid down. These guidelines can be wide-ranging. Being publicly moral involves considering the use of most drugs, regardless of whether they can actually harm someone is a crime, and also chewing gum in public can make you publicly immoral. The right to freedom is one of the most important rights recognized by the country. A major chunk of it states that citizens have the right to do, believe, and follow. It doesn't directly affect someone negatively. But by trying to be publicly moral, isn't this right taken away to a certain extent? It is out of my understanding how an individual's sexual orientation, or how a person clothes, or even what a person's beliefs and opinions are, affects others. I therefore believe that public morality is relative, compulsion to follow it is an infringement of freedom, and therefore regulations based on them are irrational. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sayam. We will now be hearing from one member of the opposition. And
sorry to interrupt, but I would like to state that as an example, I would also be sending a link to the Facebook account as an example. So if that can be taken into consideration.
Brilliant, sir. I'd also request you send it on the Hangout chat so it's available for the rest of the participants to view. Now, I would request that Mr. Rohit from the opposition states his opening statement.
A very good afternoon. I'm from the opposition, and first of all, let us focus on the word moral or morality. It means a set of do's and don'ts which may be defined or stated, or undefined and simply erupting from the conscience. The word public too has a lot of different meanings and is purely contextual. I agree. It would mean a group of people in a gathering, all the inhabitants of a city, or even the whole of world. So it is not exactly possible to give a particular definition to public. So it becomes necessary to regulate a behavior at different places for various different reasons. That is to follow morals. It can be because some things are just purely unacceptable to the world in general, or sometimes just not right in that particular group. Let me offer you an example. This hangout right now could be called a public gathering if I'm not wrong. So here are the set of written and stated rules that you will be given only this much amount of time to speak and so on. Also, there are a set of naturally understood rules which may be unwritten, like parliamentary language or abusive language or interrupt another speaker. So these morals or code must be followed and is mandatory. That is precisely the regulations we are talking about. But the same set of rules may not be applicable in another public forum. That is because the word public has multiple meanings. But is that a reason for not maintaining morality? Does that mean that you can do whatever you want in the society to PDA in front of a large group of people? That is not right. The whole society is built upon these do's and don'ts, which if not followed, the building comes tumbling down, which which becomes all the more reason to enforce regulations and follow it. But one thing we have to understand is that these rules are never static. They are constantly changing, and even between the same set of people, they keep changing. But not following them is even more dangerous. It would lead to a lot of differences and a variety of negative emotions. Thus, it's important that public morality be followed and these guidelines be regulated, lest should we see the disintegration of society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We will now have the second speaker from the proposition, Mr. Raj Bagdi, give his opening statement.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You may begin.
Okay, fine. I'm Raj Bagdi, and
Mr. Raj Bagdi.
yeah, private morality is not what we are discussing today. Let me be very clear. My opening statement is we are not discussing private morality. We are talking about public morality, and as far as I'm concerned, public morality is different from private morality. Private morality could be something what transpires in your bedroom. We are not talking about those things. So public morality is about the system of governance, which in the present era is completely self-defeating. It is implemented by a slew of corrupt lawyers and crooks who twist and manipulate the law to favor the rich, to favor the corporate and the rich. There is indeed a serious breakdown in the system that governs public morality. People who control our economy are turning our democracy into a financial slush pump. This degradation and irrationality is found in exorbitant pay of top executives, financial conflicts of interest, insider trading, and the outright bribery of public officials through unlimited campaign donations. Recently, the inequalities have risen to unforeseen levels. Financial regulations have waned, monopoly powers have increased, and politicians have become out of touch with the interest of the working class. There are signs of unrest, and if we continue along a two-tiered path that ignores the need of a large portion of the society, the consequences will be unimaginable. So my take on the subject is that the regulations tied to public morality are an illusion, and they are self-defeating, and they are not doing any good in the current scenario. There is a fierce need for change and liberty. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We will now be hearing from the second speaker of the opposition. Mr. Navneet, you have the floor. Mr. Navneet, you may begin. Mr. Navneet. Can the organizing team please check up with Mr. Navneet? He seems to be inaudible to us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brilliant. Please, you may begin.
Yeah, I was talking all this time. Okay. See, the word morality itself means good, proper behavior, up to character. So basing laws based on anything except morality makes them immoral by nature, right? Now, public morality as a whole is, yes, up for debate, but that doesn't make it illusionary. It just means it has flaws, but they're not big enough. They're not so big that public morality as a whole has to be abandoned. Yes, there are times where we come to question public morality, but is it at a point where it can be considered illusionary is what this is why we are here, ladies and gentlemen, and that is what I'm here to talk about. Now, as a gesture of good faith, this opposition would like to give the proposition the benefit of doubt, saying that public morality is illusionary, right? Even though there has been no basis of evidence from the proposition for that. Then there's only one question that the opposition would like to ask the proposition. If public morality is illusionary, then what would laws be based on instead, right? You cannot base laws on immorality. That would simply be wrong. Basing laws on amorality, well, that just means basing laws on what people do not do, which means you're going to have 20 leaders giving 20 different rules. And as the second speaker of the proposition said, with one leader in our system of government, we seem to have so much bribing and so much corruption, as the speaker said. Now, I do not agree with him completely, but let's say what he's saying is true. Then what would be the case with 20 leaders if each person's expression was given full support, right? Which is why we say the majority is given support in order to avoid pandemonium. Laws are made in the interest of public morality to support public unity and prevent the outbreak of chaos, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why this House strongly believes that basing laws on public morality is not an illusionary concept, but should be enforced and is not irrational. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now that the opening statement round is over, I'd just like to say a few words about our topic at hand, which is this House believes that public morality is an
illusionary concept,
and that regulation based on it is irrational. When we speak, as Mr. Raj Bagdi had very rightly pointed out, public morality, we are speaking about public morality and not private morality. It's a simple question of whether we believe the views of the masses to be correct. Do the masses know what they want? Do the population at a large know what is best for them, or do they just choose what they want? It's seen in terms of elections. It's seen in terms of everywhere else. Election campaigning. Do people actually vote for the party that does the most good to the nation, or do people vote for the party that gives them the most benefits via election campaigning, whether it be by a better food distribution system or whether it be the provision of other external help?
Moderator, just a doubt in between. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you, but isn't democracy is what that is ruled for so long? In fact, even the results of this debate are going to be debated by how many likes people give to a report we submit to a question given by you. Which case, doesn't that mean that the moderator himself supports an organization which at its base supports democracy and thus supports what the public wants, and thus indirectly supporting public morality and that which it represents?
In that case, we would like to question the viewership of the organization and the Facebook page at large, by which you just quoted with likes. In terms of that, public morality, when you speak of, is open to an unbiased and completely open form of audience. In this case, which is not the same. In this case, the audience which it is showcased to, which the page of the Facebook page of the organization is portrayed to, is to a certain set of targeted intellectuals. Is that the same as a geniocracy, or is that public morality as a whole? The question of this topic, however, on a certain unbiased fashion, is whether simply public morality is irrational, is an illusory construct, and the laws based on it are rational. In that case,
Yeah, but
as the opposition very rightly pointed out, how else can we must question how else laws can be
Based.
can be based or formulated in a simple way. If we can't formulate it on what the democracy is meant for, on the people, then what else can it be formulated on? Can it be formulated based on the views of a certain set of intellectuals or a certain
Thank
set
you.
in a politically high standard, or do we base it on the public, who till now seem to have known what they want in terms of ruling a democracy, which is what a public in a certain way does? So that is where our debate at this point of time stands. So we will now be moving on to the judges' questioning. Mr. Farhan, could now pose 3 questions to the proposition, or more if you'd like, and 3 questions to the opposition.
All right. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hi. So, okay. The first question towards the proposition. Now, it's a very simple question, and I think it was raised by the opposition as well. So, assuming that everything that the proposition said was right, all right. So, my question is this: since you guys reject like a mandate that is governed by the views of the public and the masses and their perception of what is right and what is wrong, then what is the alternate set of rules and morals that we as humans living in a nation should actually live by? And the sub question for this is that will it be as effective as the latter? So for your convenience, I will put this up in the chat window as well. All right. Okay, this is my first question. Proposition.
Proposition, we could, since we are a little lax in the procedure, you may answer him right now.
Okay, so I would like to answer that. Firstly, I would like to point out that it is a real good question, but I would also like to say, let me give you an example. For example, how does a person's sexual orientation affect anyone? So why should there even be a law regulating the sexual orientation of? If you take the case of murder, definitely is very wrong, and it affects other people as well. So definitely.
I can't hear you. Yeah, you're absolutely inaudible, man. Come on, speak up.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, nobody can hear you. Yeah, just speak up, dude. Come on.
Yeah, okay. So what you basically say is that the existing laws are based on public morality. I agree to that, but the alternative would be that you could make laws that that affect other people. Like, it doesn't matter what a person's sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter to anyone. It doesn't affect anyone.
Isn't that why we have rules made for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes?
Mr. Navneet, I'm as a moderator, I have to step in here because it's him and the judges who are interacting at this point in time.
Oh, we're not allowed to rebut right now.
Not right in the rebuttal round.
I thought you said we. Okay, fine. My bad. I got confused. Thought you said we were allowed to rebut each other.
No, that was in
genuine
the It's okay.
Genuine confusion. Extremely sorry, man.
It's okay.
Okay. So if there's something that doesn't affect anyone, then why do you even need a law? And even if you do need a law, you could take something that that would be fair for all. Like, if you take the case of murders, it definitely is wrong. It affects so many other people. So yeah, definitely. You could make a law on that, and I think everyone believes regarding murders, everyone has the same view. So regarding that, you could make laws on that, but you don't need to take into account public morality when you take other issues which don't really affect anyone. And I would like to ask, I'm sorry, but what was the sub question?
Mr. Farhan?
All right. So the sub question was that, will it be, I mean, you came up with something, right? You said that you came up with another alternate version of what we might or should live by. Now, my question is, will it be as effective as, or more effective than following a public morality system?
Can I give my views? I'm Raj here.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. What the country is currently going through, the last elections which took place, we gave a fresh mandate to a new party. The earlier party, the Congress, had failed miserably. The public morality system were thrown to the wind. There was large corruption, and in every sector there was dissatisfaction. The entire country is sweeping through something called hope. We don't know what Modi government is going to do, but we hope that they will do well. We hope that they will be able to change concepts and give us a clean governance. So your question is, what is the alternative? We are all hopeful that something turns bad. We are looking at another area. We are looking at a fresh mandate. We are looking at a fresh area, circumstances. So we are all hoping that things will be better. We cannot say that this is not working, something else is going to work. There has to be subtle changes in the law. There has to be certain subtle changes, and we'll have to move forward. And how effective it is going to be, nobody knows. For the good of all, we people will have to learn from a difficult situation, from what the Congress has done to the country, how we are rendered, to a chaotic situation. So we will have to reinvent ourselves. We will have to put in new rules, regulations. We'll have to see how the corruption is brought down, how the government is more accountable to public. These things are all an ongoing thing which needs to be experimented. We need to go there. We need to understand. We need to put things. We need to bring in fresh government. So we really cannot guarantee anything. But yes, change would be a definitive move forward. The change itself would, people hope that would bring in fresh ideas, fresh regulations into place to have a better governance, better accountability to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Farhan, do you have any other further questions to pose to the proposition?
Okay, just one last question. I mean, I got confused somewhere in the answer that Mr. Raj gave me, because he spoke about change, he spoke about innovation, and he spoke about thoughts, right? So isn't that in a way by itself public morality, because it is aroused by the opinions of the public as such?
I didn't get you.
All right, sir. So I'll repeat my question. So you spoke about innovation, you spoke about thoughts, you spoke about coming up with change as such. So isn't that by itself public morality, because you are coming up with ideas that are generated by the masses as such? So aren't you just going against what you believe in?
No, we are not talking about regulations by and large. We are not talking about a really regulated environment. I'm talking to you from the viewpoint that whatever regulations are in place have failed us time and again. I'm talking about a fresh look at things. I'm not really talking about regulations as in what is happening in the present context, and it has become an illusion and it is irrational. I'm not again going back to setting in new regulations, setting in new laws. We are talking about looking at the whole thing from a different perspective. I definitely am not going to go against my own theory. You probably got me wrong. I'm talking about more of a change. I'm talking about a change, because the current scenario is become so constrained because of the regulations and because of things not working out. The law is unable to perform. There is no transparency and all that. So we need to look at a system, a different system, maybe a more liberal system. I'm talking about a more liberal system.
Sir, as the moderator, I just like to step in to clarify to the participants and the viewing audience what defines your liberal system in terms to relation to this topic.
Since the current system globally does not seem to be working, it is only fueling corruption. It is making the rich people richer. It is.
No, sir. My question was, please relate that to public morality and laws based on it.
A more rational system, probably a more open system, a more freer society where you know there are strict lines drawn. The government does their job. There is a clarity to a large extent. People are left to do what they to be governed by their moral emotions. Probably that is a system which would work, because any amount of law, any amount of accountability and regulation is not working.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much. Mr. Farhan, you may now pose your questions to the opposition. If you do not
Before we start, just one thing that I'd like to ask the audience, everyone. When the proposition said, and I
Mr.
quote,
Navneet, I'm very sorry. It is under the debate club's view that it will be a bit unbiased if we allow you that comment at this point of time. So I'm very sorry. I'll have to leave it to you.
okay, fine. I'll ask this during the one-on-one questions round.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I'm just afraid I might forget it. Can I have a second? Write it down.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, Mr. Farhan. You may begin.
Yeah.
Do you want me to begin, because I think he's writing down something? So
No, it's okay. You can
No,
begin.
yeah,
you
begin.
can
No
proceed with the
problem.
questions. I can, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
he
so,
wrote the answer.
all right, perfect. So the question again towards the opposition. Now, as a logical human being, all right, I think it makes sense to ask this particular question. Now, who sets these ethical standards and other morals with which we should live by? I mean, who decides that it is actually decent enough to dress like that? Because decency changes from place to place. I could give a proper example, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and when you compare that with the United States of America, it is completely contrasting. So, what do you think about this?
And as from the organizing point of view, I'd also like to add in that the points that even the interpretation of the so-called facts is based on morality and public opinion. So, how do you define your very simple right or wrong in society, science, or anywhere else?
We first go by what makes us human, that factor of humanity, wherein and thus one step down we go down to democracy. What democracy says, as the proposition said, was simply you can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't infringe upon another person's rights. And then comes the government, which enforces its laws following the principles of democracy. Now, what this house strongly believes is, as stated in the example, each country has its own set of laws based upon their own different principles. Now, in Saudi Arabia, the government feels that its people have their own way of dressing. Their dress code is more suited for the safety of their people. In a sandstorm, exposing yourself in sleeveless shirts and shorts is going to leave you hurt, right? Even the Americans dressing up for shooting in Saudi Arabia get dressed like that. Why? It is simply because of the fact that the government enforces that which it thinks is required for the safety of its people. Now, the second question is, who sets these laws, and are they decent enough? Right? Now, these laws are enforced by those people we elect on our belief that these people can get the job done. Now, in India, it's the Supreme Court, it's the Prime Minister, it's the President, and it's the same case worldwide. Right? Now, the proposition chooses to specifically talk about India, like pretty much everyone else who took part in this competition over the last 1 month. But what I'd like to say is we need to have a global perspective towards everything. Right? Our leaders are those who we choose, and we're putting faith in them. We put our faith in their decisions as well. Now, if they falter, it is in our rights to question them and change their authority. So we are enforcing democracy through public morality, and by questioning this public morality, aren't we questioning democracy itself? Is what this house would like to say.
And I would like to add that in my opening statement, I even said that these morals or guidelines keep constantly changing. That is what your question is, and also.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I said that some rules or guidelines are simply unstated. You know from your conscience some things like it is wrong to kill a man. You need not say that to another person. He knows it. So there is no one setting the rule here. We know it.
So, to equalize the debate, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. So, the death or execution, many countries, India included, or many other countries, we term execution as humane. We term execution as that is killing another human
being. That is the faith of the Indians upon its leader. That is the faith of American citizens on its leaders. In each state in the US, they have their own stance on execution. There are, I believe, 17 states in the US that endorse the execution of man. if his crimes exceed that which we call humane, if he has exceeded a point where we no longer consider his humanity intact, we say to hell with him, basically.
But when it comes to death, when we trust governments and public morality to
To
decide,
prevent the death of those who don't deserve, to those who won't inflict more damage to society than their own
in
death.
that case, are we sure that we can trust the masses to know what is right for a specific individual
What is
they have
the
never
alternate?
met or interacted?
Yeah, what is the alternate? Until now, we haven't
What is
faltered.
the
As
alternate?
And,
Are we
yeah,
going
he
to
is
depend
right.
on one
There is-
individual or many individuals?
See, as my competition said, I mean, as the proposition said, and I quote, we can for a fresh mandate, hoping that things will change. Right? That is an excerpt from a statement. Isn't that itself putting a faith into public morality, hoping that the public knows what is good for itself? And till now, we have never faltered as a species, as a united species. We have never faltered. Yes, we've had wars, but never as a government on its own failed its own people.
Okay,
Governments
so,
fight against each other, yes, but in the case of a publicly elected government, in my opinion, they have never failed the people.
okay, sir. In that case, I would like to ask one question to you and then move on to some questions I have to the proposition. My question to you would be, you say public morality. Here we're speaking about governments fighting against each other. So in that case, do we define public morality by the morality of the masses of a single nation? In that case, is public morality different from nation to nation? In that case, isn't it really not exactly public morality, but just a collection of moralities which we take a conglomerate of and call public morality?
Now, as my partner
in that
said,
case, 1 second, sir, let me finish. Also,
It depends on how
1 second. Also, sir, we as democracy, which you had stated, as a public morality and the laws based on it has also defined that the rights and views of a minority must not be denied. Public, even if we even consider the probability or the concept of public morality, isn't it leaving aside the views of a minority as irrational? Is that correct? Is that rational as a whole?
see, first of all, I would like to point an example towards Tamil Nadu. Until the 1940s, until India reaches independence, castes in India who were not Brahmins were looked down upon. Now today, the world is making up to them by giving them preferences in colleges and schools, right? So we are trying to make up for where we faltered. We have at times made faults. There seems to be some background disturbance from I don't know who. Okay, the point is we have faltered in our past to appreciate the needs of a minority while appreciating democracy. But what we should never fail to do rather is what we have, let me rephrase that. What we have done is we have appreciated the minority to what extent we can, we're not infringing upon that which defines democracy. Right? We have special provisions, we have specifically elected rules to support and promote the needs and necessities of the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, the minorities, everyone, so that everyone believes that they're a part of this community, a global community. Now, your question was, if each country or if each nation has its own public morality, isn't it just a conglomerate of each nation's own set of whims and fans? I mean, of each nation's own wishes. Well, I tend to disagree because, as my partner said, we have these set of rules of unsaid things that we should know, right? As humans, as appreciating human nature, we should know that these rules should be followed, right? We should not cause harm to another person. Is something we should know.
Okay, so
Right.
okay, sir. Could you please keep it a little bit short because I'm receiving news from the debate club team that we're running out of a bit of time.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say, if I'm trying to say anything at all, is the fact that we are appreciating everyone. Now we have rules. Each country has its own set of rules to appreciate the people of that nation, but we do have universal rules that have to be followed. These rules are made in the interest of preserving morality, which is governed by the public. Which is why this house still believes that public morality is not an illusionary concept. Thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Also, I'd like you to, in a very short fashion, answer the point I requested about minorities and their views.
I just answered that, right? There are rules made by scheduled castes and scheduled
No,
tribes.
sir, but
which appreciate-
my question was more, if we are basing regulation, that even the regulation on scheduled castes and scheduled tribes on public morality, isn't the morality and the voice and the choices of the minority being discriminated against? If you're going to take the conglomerate average view which everybody has and discard the views that certain groups have, isn't that discrimination?
We're not doing that, right? Each group, that's why we have support groups, right? Groups which support their own motives and morals. They group together to form their own. Society is a wrong word, but they have their own clubs, their own groups that support and thrive for that which represents themselves. And in democracy, we recognize that. And and through public morality, we do so too.
Okay, sir.
Even can I continue?
Yeah.
Even in democracy, we do not completely abandon the other side. The main objective of democracy is to work with the minority so that they can work together something out. Even the opposition has some support. So they become the minority here, right?
Okay, thank you. Now I have one question to equalize the debate to the proposition as well. And my question to the proposition is, if you consider public morality to be an illusory concept, then can you, and public morality is in a way a lot of the basis of all kinds of science and ways of life, is there any way you can propose any, as the opposition is also asked, any system which is not illusory, by which laws can be based upon, which again is not based on public morality, in let me define the question a little more to you, in democracies? Can the proposition please answer?
I'm sorry, but I didn't catch that right. Could you please rephrase it?
Yeah, my question is, you are defending the topic that public morality is an illusory construct. In that case, my question primarily is, there seems to be disturbance. Give me 1 second, please. Yeah, in that case, my question is simply this: if you say public morality is an illusory construct, then as the opposition had asked, can you propose or give to us an alternate system? See, public morality is also the basis of a lot of science and the way we lead life. Can you propose another system which can be used for the regulation and for the construction of laws, which does not depend on public morality and which also is applicable in a democracy?
Yes, I think I've stated this before, that different people have different views, and why should they be guided by one law which is applicable to all? If there's something that doesn't affect others, then we believe that there shouldn't be a law itself, and even if there's a law, it should be flexible, that it can accommodate people.
But can you propose in a very short way a system by which you frame those laws? See, right now we have public morality to tell us whether murdering somebody is right or not. Could you propose an alternate system to tell us whether murdering somebody is right or not?
Look, there are some things which they don't have to be explained, and I think everyone has the same view upon that. Like if you're talking of murdering someone, everyone believes that it is wrong to murder someone, and
isn't that public morality?
Making law.
I was just going to say the same. Thank you.
Making laws on issues like that would be okay, because everyone has the same view, and it wouldn't be infringement of the freedom of others. But
sir, I'm very sorry, I have to cut in here to tell you that you are defending that public morality is irrational.
Yeah, you're talking for us, man.
I'm not completely supporting it. I'm saying that in some situations where there's no, sorry.
Are you proposing that a compromise should be made between? Okay.
But by proposing a compromise, aren't you saying that it is partially illusionary?
Mr. Navneet, save it for the crossfire round. Yeah. Continue, Mr. Sai. I'm very sorry.
Just a second. So what I'm trying to say is that when you have issues where there's no space for argument at all, yes, definitely public morality should come into the picture, and you can make laws based on that. But it shouldn't be like on issues where different people have different views. You can't simply make a law that is applicable to all. So you don't need laws made on that. And I think a compromise would be the best option.
Okay. Mr. Raj, do you have anything to say for that?
Yeah, sure thing. Let me make it very clear that the current system where every individual is burdened with n number of laws and people are fleecing each other, the system is not working the lawyers are taking everybody for a ride, the politicians and the bigwigs are all getting away free. This system is no system at all. Let us, I propose a system which is much more simplified. Let us go back to our ages of our ancestors. Systems when laws were not there, people were still, they did have an emotional bearing, and it was
So,
a very
if I may interrupt, are you proposing that in some stances, monarchy with honorable ruler would be better than a place where public morality is taken into consideration?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I am proposing, let us go back to go back to 200 years down behind. Things were working fine. Now everybody at the drop of a hat is running to a lawyer. He is wasting his time, wasting his money. People are manipulating. There are things not happening. Everybody is getting away with everything. It's there. It's a chaotic society. This is no place for things are not working. It's very simple. We all understand. So we need to find an alternative system, and the system which we know is the system of yesteryears, the system which our ancestors were following. It was working fine. Now, how it was working, what the system was, I don't have specific answers for you, but I know for sure that it was a simple system where people used to have a more conscious kind of what would I say,
Regulation.
to the society. There used to be a harmony, and things did happen. So let's look at that system. I do not know what will I call that system. Shall we call that system something which the French call it laissez-faire? Does that make sense? That is, each individual has to be left right to be left alone and do what he or she feels like doing.
Isn't that anarchy?
Okay, sir. We'll be stopping now and moving to the most important part of debate according to the organizing team's opinion, which is the crossfire or the rebuttal round. For the sake of procedure, we will still be moving a tiny bit according to the formal procedure, where we will begin with the proposition asking 3 questions to the opposition. Proposition, you may begin.
Yeah, we are just preparing. Just give me a minute.
Can the opposition go first then? I have like
we prefer
20.
we prefer that we wait.
The opposition has around 20 questions put together.
Okay, sir. We prefer that we still wait. We'll make sure that not 20, but at least the most important of those 20 are heard.
Yeah. How many questions will be entertained? Because me and Rohit will sort it out together.
Sir, it is my personal view, the moderator's personal view, that you may have these many questions over the course of discussing. 1 second, so there seems to be discussion on the participant side. Yeah. Over the course of the discussion of either even 1 or 2 of those questions, it's my opinion that all the rest of those 20 questions will be brought into view. So hopefully it does happen.
Just pointing out factual and logical fallacies in the opponent's, in the proposition's speech count as a question?
No, sir, but only if you do so in the rebutting round. But I prefer that is not used as a question.
Yeah, then can I do it now as quick as possible?
No, sir.
Come on, man.
1 second, sir. After you've proposed your questions, you will be into direct argument with the opposition team, at which point of time you could refer the fallacies and make your argument.
Yeah, okay, that'll be pretty good. Thank you.
Yeah, I have one question here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's take the case of drugs, for example. Drugs, like, when a person uses drugs, they aren't going to harm anyone else at all. Yeah, the person is using it on his own free will, and if it isn't harming anyone at all, then why should there be laws prohibiting the use?
Can I please? Thank you so much for this question. Please, can I?
Mr. Navneet, please.
Can I please answer?
Sir, I have an actual very serious request from the participants and the organizing team that you can't interrupt or start speaking unless we ask you to. I'm very, very sorry.
Yeah, okay, can I please answer now?
Sir, again, please, sir, don't start replying or speaking unless we ask you to. I request the proposition to please complete asking 2 more questions to the opposition.
The second question will be that there is a system in place. So how does the opposition explain the current situation where, every day there is terrorism, every day there is murders, every day there's a scam, every day there are children being raped, women being raped. So how do they explain this by and large? I don't think anything is working at all. So they need to give us a good explanation in the current scenario what is happening.
Okay, so thank you. Can we have one more question from the proposition to the opposition, please? Are there any, or would you like to reserve that question after a certain point in rebuttal?
Well, I don't presently have a question.
Okay, so
does my partner Raj have one?
Mr. Raj.
We will reserve that for a later date.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, sir. Now I request the opposition to please answer to those questions, and once that's done, ask the proposition 3 questions. You may begin.
Navneet, are you answering the first one?
Yes, Mr. Navneet, if you'd like to, you may answer. Can we have an answer from the opposition, please?
No, my partner desperately wanted to answer. I'm just giving him the chance.
Yes, I believe he... Sir, would you like to answer?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. The proposition's first question was, if people when they're allowed to take drugs, why does the government care? First of all, when people abuse drugs, they pretty much die, right? That's first, number one. The government cares about its people. Number two, people when abusing or even using drugs beyond, or there's no beyond point. When people are using drugs, they tend to not know what the limit is. They tend to break the law, go against the public morality, and cause harm. By simply asking this question, you've basically given the opposition an opportunity to express its views more strongly, basing the fact that when you go against public morality, you're causing harm to yourself and people around you. As for the second question, I swear I didn't understand what Mr. Bhakti meant to say. I didn't understand what his question was, first of all.
Mr. Bhakti, please repeat yourself.
You are talking about the public morality and the system which is working, and I'm talking about the system which is not working. So questioning the system by itself. So I'm asking you that, here is a situation where nothing seems to be working. There are women which are being raped every day in the country. There is child labor. There are people getting murdered. There is unrest. So how is the law working? It is ineffective. It's not able to, the politicians, the government, the law, nothing is. They are not able to prevent, even if not prevent, at least not let it increase by the day. So things are only going for the worse.
Okay, I'll take that.
Mr. Bhakti, I don't mean to be judgmental, but saying women would be viewed upon as sexist, but beyond that, you're questioning the ability to enforce these laws, not the basis on which the laws were proposed themselves. You're questioning the officials and their ability to prevent pandemonium than the laws which were enforced in the first place. So your question has no relevance to the topic whatsoever, in my opinion. You're talking about the inefficiency of officials to enforce the laws rather than the efficiency of the laws themselves. See, the laws clearly say a man cannot rape a woman, right? If that man followed these rules, we would have the problem. The public demands, right, in the words of Arnab Goswami, right? The public demands that a man does not rape another woman. Which means by going against
I would like to add to that.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
By going against these laws, you're going against public morality. So you're not talking. Your question has no relevance to the topic whatsoever, honestly.
Okay, I like Mr. Rohit.
Okay,
yes.
Mr. Raj Bagdi, I believe your alternate was some word you said in French, which I think is actually anarchy. So you're not satisfied with the present system and want to shift to anarchy. I think it will only worsen the situation. More women will get raped. I don't think the question has any base here.
And second, I like to propose my second question to the proposition. Mr. Bhakti said things were working fine in the past.
One
right?
second, sir. One second. One second.
Oh.
Can the proposition confirm to me that both the questions of theirs were answered accurately by the opposition?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
Thank you, sir.
No, I don't agree on this on the answer given to the first question.
Yes, sir. You may
So-
rebut and clarify. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so what I would like to say is that people they are intelligent enough, they know how drugs affect them, and so why should other people interfere in their lives, and why should they regulate? How does it even matter to them what others do? They have the freedom. We also have the Right to Freedom Act, and they have the freedom to do whatever they want until and unless it doesn't affect someone. So why should they even bother? Yeah.
Okay, speak to the proposition. I have a report on my computer right now that says drug abuse kills 200,000 people each year, right? Which means 200,000 people die every year. That is not a small number because of drug abuse. That is just because people dying because they use drugs, and this is people who died on their own. This report does not include those who died due to the what do you say? How do I phrase this parliamentarily? Because of the indecent behavior of those abusing drugs, rather, right? It only talks about those who took drugs and died, and that's 200,000 people each year. Now you're saying the government shouldn't intervene. You're saying the government. This is after the government says drugs are illegal. Imagine how many people are going to die each year of abusing drugs if the government says here, you know what, smoke crack cocaine, and you know what, ganja is legal and all. If the government says that, where is it going to lead the people? You're going to have people. You're going to have more people dying each year. By questioning public moralities on use of drugs, you're questioning a person's motive to want to live. The government's motive to preserve the life of its people. Come on, man.
No, Navneet, I don't know about the government motive, but what about cigarettes? What about liquor? The government no, let me finish. The government gets huge revenues out of it, so they are not bothered. They are the ones who are owning the breweries. They are the ones who are, controlling the liquor sales. They are the ones who want people.
If I can connect to public morality.
No,
okay, number one, Rohit, just 1 second. I actually have an answer to that. See, it is the same government that enforces you to put stickers on cigarette packets. It is the same government that says, do not smoke or drink when a person in a movie smokes or drinks. Why? Because the government says, you're going to ruin yourself, go ahead, but we're not going to endorse it. Now, as for the government selling liquor, that's only in Tamil Nadu in India. And didn't you just deem the government itself corrupt? Right? So you're saying the government is corrupt, it sells liquor, but you're not questioning the laws upon which the government is. We're not questioning the government today. We're questioning the will of the people, right? We're questioning whether the people know what they're doing, whether the majority can be trusted, and I believe it can. Now, whether you have your faith in your government or not is a debate for another day, as you said for your second question. Let's have that on another day. Today, we're talking about whether the majority of people still hold the right to make a proper decision. I mean, the capability to make a proper decision. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, sir. Please pose your questions to the proposition.
Okay, first question. Mr. Bhakti said we have to. Isn't it better to go to a place with no laws? Okay, according to him, lawless means flawless, right? But weren't we under the rule of the British 200 years ago? Would he like to revert back to that? Honestly, I don't think it's okay. Or let's fast forward a few hundred years before that, when we were ruled by kings. You know, messengers who brought in information that was unsatisfactory to the king were executed. Right? Do you think that was okay? A man trying to make a living being a messenger gets executed if the other king denies this king his daughter in a daughter's hand in marriage. Boom, you're dead. Why? Because you brought in bad news. Is that okay? Right? Tell me how this is okay in your point of view. How the past is better than the present.
You're pointing out to exceptions. See,
there was no exception in that point, right? All the kings did it. It was a fad.
No. The messenger.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm very sorry. As I did with the previous team, I request that the opposition pose all three of your questions on the roll.
Okay, question number 2. Till now, the proposition still hasn't shown evidence to prove that public morality is illusionary. It's simply show that it has flaws, which this house agrees with. But saying public morality is illusionary is redundant because it isn't. Right? I think that's been well established. Could the proposition please show us somehow, right, that public morality is indeed illusionary? And the
I would
third
like
question.
I would like the opposition again to state the alternative that they are talking about very clearly, please.
Till now, they keep saying old method, new method. You know, the opposite. The proposition is still not very clear on what the alternate method should be. If you're not basing laws on morality, right? The word morality means that which is right, as I said in my opening statement. Which means, what do you want to base your laws on? What the public thinks is bad? Public morality means that which public deems appropriate. The majority of the public deems appropriate.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I now request the opposition to please answer. The proposition, sir.
See, there are a number of scams which have taken place in the last few years. Obviously, it shows that public morality is an illusion. What about the 3G scam? What about the scam of the Commonwealth or any of those Asian games? There are large scams everywhere. Every government official was involved in the scam. I don't know. There were n number of scams across the country. So
just 1 second, Maud. Am I allowed to intervene and rebut right now?
Once he finishes his statement, preferably. Once he finishes his statement.
Yeah, okay, fine. Let him finish.
So the dime a dozen scams. The government is in the center of the whole thing. There is a public morality system in place. There is a governance in place. Then obviously this is all illusion. This is not the truth. Things are not working. A few people are able to get away with anything and everything. So I think I have answered your question. That is what we are trying to tell you, that the system does not work. It's
okay, Mr.
Bhatti. Hasn't a lot of good things happened too?
No, Mr. Bhatti, you just repeat what you just said. A few people can get away with anything, but not everyone can, right? Let's just agree with you for a second that these people are going to get away unscathed, despite the fact that Kanimori was in prison for the 2G scam, and those involved in the Commonwealth Games, the scam of the Commonwealth Games, are still under investigation, if not already punished, right? So let's assume that these few people still did get away. It is still a few people, right? A few people who have found the loopholes, but that does not mean the system does not exist. It does not mean the system is an illusion. It simply means there are a few loopholes to which people are passing. It just means that as a human race, we have to unify and strengthen and patch those holes, right? Now you're saying if there is no screening, you're saying let everyone fall through, let everyone do whatever they want, and let them decide what is good for them. Let an individual decide what he or she wants. Then why do we have democracy in the first place, right? Why do we have that one line in the end, that which does not infringe upon the rights of another, right? If by contradicting what we say, you're saying let's crop off that one last line. Now, to the next question, please.
The question is, who are the few people? The few people are the elected representatives. So if they are going to be doing unlawful activities, then the system is illusionary. It's not really true.
That just means the public
is failed. The system makes mistakes.
And
the system makes mistakes. It is not illusionary. Illusionary means it is not there.
Illusionary means yeah, precisely as my partner said, it just means that the system is not there, right?
No. Let us not go to the literal meaning of it. We all understand what we are talking about. So let's not
dissect. So, Mr. Bhatti, what are you talking about? To make it clear to everyone watching and to me listening, I still don't know what you're talking about, sir.
I'm talking about.
You first were talking about scams.
Mr. Naveed, let me stop you right there because it's bordering on aggression, which we don't want. Mr. Raj Bagdi, I think what the opposition is simply trying to say is that they are unclear on the opinion you're trying to share. Please elaborate a little bit more.
So, sorry, I didn't get you.
No, Mr. Raj Bagdi, I think what the opposition is trying to say is that they are a bit unclear on your position of an alternate system and of the old and new system. They just like you to elaborate a little bit, that's all, sir.
No, I've told you n number of times in this forum that things are not working. there is corruption, people, elected representatives are not performing, and it's not only the few. I think the entire country is corrupt. Every official is corrupt. Every fellow, right from the cop who's taking who's not performing his duty, all around there's chaos. So that's one part of the story. It's not a few people. It's the entire system which is not functioning. Number one. Number two is, I was very clear that solutions, there has to be what is happening today is the system is degenerating because of too much of regulation, too much of vested interest. Laws are put in place to favor a few people, to see that a few people get the chunk of the this thing. Laws itself are framed to benefit a few people, so they are self-defeating. I strongly feel that this is not the system. We should go back to a simplified system. We should be more liberal with the people. Unnecessary laws should not be clammed on people, and then the lawyers coming, and then the people coming and taking advantage of people who are not well read, who are not well informed. So we need to look afresh at the whole thing, and we need to go back to simplifying the whole thing. There need not be, as I am there, as
what this house asks you is, what is that simpler thing? That's all that this house asks you.
No, let me finish. I'm coming to that. As I am told, that, why should there be law of what a person is eating, what he does in his bedroom, whom he sleeps with, what it is? Why should
Didn't you just say that's private morality? That's a topic for another day. What you eat and what you do in your bedroom is your private morality. What is up here for debate today is public morality, not morality as a whole. So isn't that redundant? Talking about that today, isn't that redundant?
No. In fact, I was the one who told let's only concentrate on public morality and not private morality. But everybody is jumping the gun here. So don't tell me that I'm the only chap. I'm only trying to say what you are talking about. You are talking about drugs. I'm giving you a. I'm supporting Siam and saying why pile people with rules, laws, regulations.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This I would like to stop it here because it is bordering on aggression. But nevertheless, let me please just mute the disturbance being caused.
You have not answered our.
Sir, just a second. I'm getting to it. This was bordering on aggression, and I feel that the debate is losing a bit of the essence on which we would like to be running at this point of time. Let me just redirect this debate at this point of time. The topic as a whole speaks about public morality being an illusory concept. In that case, we would like to go a little bit more into what we mean as being illusory. Does it mean it's illusory to the governments and its effectiveness? Do we mean it is illusory to the people? Do we mean it is illusory to the people to whom the laws affect? And at the end of the day, the topic does say, and that regulation based on it is irrational. And when we say irrational, the rationality of the laws themselves, is that rationality influenced by public morality? Is the rationality decided? How is the rationality decided in the first place? Isn't that also isn't the rationality by itself defined by public morality? Can either teams please comment on that and move the argument in that manner?
That is what this house just said in a probably a poorly worded fashion, that any sort of regulation that you make on this front, I mean, let me first start by saying
no, sir. What the moderator meant was that judging these laws and categorizing them as rational or irrational
that itself is public morality. Exactly.
No, is it public morality, sir, or is it just a select few who have been entrusted by a nation to be able to make that decision on right or wrong? Is that
the few people who've been entrusted to make a decision? Right, as you're saying, the laws are made by a few people, but these few people represent a whole nation who is elected them based on public morality.
But yes, sir.
That this person has been elected and will represent their wants and needs.
Excuse me, sir. But let me stop you there. What I'm sure you still have not really understood, but the point is, what we're trying to say, what the moderator is trying to say, is that in a representative system, when you elect representatives, that may be a form of public morality, but on the other, or it may not, because in that case, we are talking about a single choice, not choices that affect, not choices in total, not entire choices for a long duration of time. We're talking about a single choice on deciding who represents them. That may be based on public morality, or they may be based on something else, like I had previously stated as well. My question is, when you are electing a representative and a representative takes decisions for you, is that public morality, or is it just an individual choice which the nation agrees to?
See, the nation has a choice. If the nation doesn't like what is made,
Sir, if there is a ballot measure system, that would be a true form of deciding public morality. But when you have representatives who make decisions, and when you have the nation only electing those representatives but not verifying every single choice, is that public morality? Is that public morality being used in the regulation and creation of laws, or is it not? I'd like the proposition to begin with talking about this concept first. Proposition?
Yeah, this is a neutral question which you are asking. Am I correct? This is a question which is
open to both sides, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, which is open to both sides.
Yes.
Obviously, there has to be active participation from, by and large, representatives of the society to formulate certain laws. Now, how the process has to be very transparent, and we do not know how much transparent these processes are in the current scenario. I think the Rajya Sabha, the Lok Sabha are all representatives in the Indian context. When I talk about India, let us equate it to global. Don't question me that why are we talking about India and not global. It means any democracy follows the same system. So there is a set of elected representatives.
It doesn't. I'm sorry, you're telling me that in the US they follow a prime minister oriented system, or
no.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bagdi, but I noticed a few logical fallacies in the middle, but the count is, I mean, I've truly lost count of number of points where you were actually factually wrong. I'm sure if we view through the video once again, others could probably point out more. I myself, I lost count at 6. Just say, please continue.
See, what happens is you will allow me to finish my point, because I lose track of what I am talking
about. Mr. Navneet, I'd like to make a point that I would like all participants to note that we will be limiting all forms of discussion and argument on this debate to only those pertaining to the topic. I would entertain no more comments on either team, nor any comments on the style or way of argument of either team. Thank you. You may continue.
And if you are if this is a debate, and if you are going to take everything in the literal sense, people understand by and large what I'm trying to say. But if you are going to take everything and dissect it, then we are losing.
We understand the point. Please continue.
Yeah. So what I was telling is, yeah, there are representatives by and large, and the system has to be transparent. And 1 billion people cannot form a quorum to decide on certain things. There has to be a representative of the billion people, and those are the representatives who have to be true to the public, and they are the ones who should formulate, take transparent decisions on on certain prevailing subject without letting anything prejudice their decision. So the system needs to work, and that's a system which needs to get which is the only system as of now. I mean, is that what you were asking? And I think that's it.
Okay. I would like to know if the judge has anything to add in at this point of time in the debate.
All right, so it's a very interesting debate. See, the thing is, when you talk about public morality as such, I was looking at certain keywords. Okay, I see. I really wanted to interrupt somewhere in the middle and just point out that this was going elsewhere. But then, as a judge, I wasn't. It's not within my rights to do so. So, however, if since I was given the opportunity to do so now, if I were to talk about public morality, I would talk about so many different aspects. I would talk about prostitution. I would talk about homosexuality. I would talk about nudity. I would talk about censorship. I would talk about casinos. I would talk about abortions. I would talk about so many other things. But you guys might have touched upon these things, just one or two. But I was looking at more. How do I put it? More examples to prove and convince me that your motion is correct or not. I still haven't found that yet. I'm not completely convinced whether public morality is an illusory concept or not yet.
Can either team please clarify and make your points on the topics which Mr. Farhan just quoted?
With the due respects to the chair, we understand about all these aspects about prostitution, about homosexuality, about gay, about marriages outside the scope, all these, but I thought that we will leave those arguments aside because they come under the purview of, let us say, larger section of something called a private morality. Probably, I don't know. I hope I'm clear. Public morality more so defines the government, the public representative, the government, and how they perform, or how the corporates perform, how the monopoly organizations perform, how the Wall Street or how the financial institutions perform, and what is their obligation and what is their
okay, sir. About this, I would prefer if every single participant made his point clear.
Can the opposition start now?
Yes. No. About what the judge said, I'd like everyone to comment on. Please.
First of all, the proposition was supposed to define the entire debates. A progression on the topic, and without the proposition talking specifically about the press, which I actually intended to speak about. Right, I was specifically focused upon the press in my original aspect, but the point is, without the proposition defining.
Okay, sir, Mr. Navneet, since now the judge has defined it, you may please go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, the press in most countries has the right to report whatever it does. The problem occurs when we question, when what is being presented is questionable, which is why we have rules. In fact, as the speaker, one of the proposition said, right, defining what public morality is. In that, I believe there was a line about. Wait, can I just recall this 1 second? His statement was the word moral or morality. This means a set of do's and don'ts which may be defined or stated or undefined and simply erupting from the conscience. What he meant, what he was specifically talking about, how it appeases the press, right? How there are rules which govern what the press should do. Right now, as long as these laws are followed, there's going to be no oppression. As long as people don't bring out that which is deemed unnecessary or obscene, if despite being a harsh word, that which is obscene, then the press has the right to do whatever it wants. And I'm pretty sure almost all countries agree with us. The countries that don't are an exception to a majority. Can you guys hear me or?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Can a member of the proposition, the other member of the proposition, also give comments about the judge's statements?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So the judge pointed out that we failed to point out other issues regarding public morality, which include homosexuality and what do you say, prostitution. And all of that. So yeah, I think we did point out examples where we pointed out that homosexuality as such, you shouldn't be making laws on that, because why should you infringe on someone else's privacy, and why should you decide that who a person should like or who a person should be?
Public morality, not private morality. I don't know how many times we have to keep saying this again and again.
Mr. Navneet, again, I'd like to point out, please do not interrupt. Okay. The speaker who is speaking will continue.
Okay, so but I would also like to point out that homosexuality was pointed out by the judge, so I am giving an example based on that. And when you yeah, so if talking of homosexuality, I'm not really exactly sure if it is a public moral, if it comes under public morality or private morality, but I would like to say that laws, regulation based on such subjects shouldn't be done, and it is what do you say, illusory, because it is a person's individual's choice. So infringement of privacy is wrong. Yeah, maybe that's it.
This house, hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You may continue.
See, this house believes that the laws based on homosexuality were, right, in the past, made because of the fact that in Christianity looks down upon homosexuality, which is blatantly stated in the Bible, right? So the people obviously represented their, religious views or the conflicts through their own elections, right? Through their laws, rather, to say that we don't want homosexuality, but now we're embracing it through our LGBT laws. We're slowly coming to embrace the fact that each person can do whatever he wants. No, rather, but before we go into that, I'd first like to point out that this is again private morality, right? You would not. I don't understand how this has any relevance to the topic, honestly. I mean, we're going way off.
Okay.
Now, obviously, as the moderator pointed out, as the judge pointed out, we have both sides. I'm not pointing fingers. Has failed to point out evidences showing that it is not illusory, but that it is or isn't illusory. But isn't by proving it is not illusory means that something exists, and by the inability of the opposition to prove, by the proposition prove that the public morality is not illusory, is illusory. Does that mean it is not illusory? I'm just asking. Hello?
Actually, the problem is I'm not really clear about the latter part, but about the former part, I would like to say that you said that with times people have changed and we have the LGBT laws in place, but I would like to point out section 367 in the Constitution, which criminalizes gay sex. So, what would you say of that?
You do realize how critically the public is. How much the public is criticizing that law, right? The law.
I know. I disagree. I completely disagree with you on that. As far as I know, 99% of sources that I have heard from, they are all against Section 377, and the 1% of people, the others, they are only the people
sorry,
who
sir.
we have elected.
I'd like to point out that as far as the House believes that factual inaccuracy, and if you can provide us evidence to prove otherwise, it will be taken into consideration, but otherwise not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay.
Are there any further points by any of the participants to the judge's comments?
I actually have a lot of points that I'd like to point out. First of all, the truth is I never really understood what the proposition was trying to say throughout that entire debate. We were supposed to defend the fact that public morality was not illusory, and they were supposed to say it was, but by their inability to prove that public morality is illusionary or is illusory, doesn't that itself on its own prove that it is not illusory? Just asking.
In the proposition, please answer.
Whatever Navneet is telling is not really clear to me, but what is my take on the subject is we are not questioning public morality. Public morality is not public morality is not the opposition's domain. Public morality is something which is all pervasive. We are not questioning that. We are only questioning the irrationality of the public morality. We are questioning that. We are trying to say that it is not rational. It's not delivering. It is now in the present context. It is an illusionary construct. It is not performing. So that is what we are defending. We are not. It is not that we are we are claiming that public morality does not exist or it exists. I'm sorry to say we are not completely denying the public morality. We are saying
But
that
by simply stating that, we win the debate. You're supposed to say
Yeah,
public
you're
morality is
supposed
an
to say
illusionary
that
concept.
public.
I'd like to step in here and prove that and say that what Mr. Navneet just said is not true. The
Why is
point of
that?
this debate, the point of this debate is to debate on whether public morality is an illusory concept or not, which thereby implies that public morality exists. The debate is not about
But
an
it is to
existence of
show
public
that
morality.
laws based on it are an irrational concept.
Let me finish, sir. Yes, sir. It's also debating on whether or not laws based on it are irrational. And
Yeah,
for
but
that, I would entertain no more argument on whether or not what the proposition just said was true. I would like you to please go on further on making your points or opposing the other opposition's or the other team's points.
Yeah, okay. Just one thing that I like to ask the proposition. In what way do you say that these laws are irrational?
I have told you, I have told the public, whoever it is, an n number of times that they are irrational because it's not working. The government is the government which has formed the laws are things are not working, so they are not rational. As simple as that. It's very clear.
Okay. Okay,
Doesn't
thank
it
you.
mean that
Okay,
people
I have
are
one
unable-
last question. I have one last question, Mr. Raj Bagdi.
Mr. Rohit, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you define these two terms, public and morality? I just want to know that, how you define these terms.
How do I define what?
public morality?
Yeah, the words public and morality.
No, for me, public morality means.
No, I asked for public and morality. What do you mean by public
No,
and morality?
Separate words, Mr. Bhakti.
No. Let me not talk about public and morality. I don't know what is public and what is morality. I'll tell you what is public morality as such. Public morality is what, by and large, the government,
The people.
not the people as in not individuals. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the government. I'm talking about the financial institutions. I'm talking about the corporate world. I'm talking about, by and large, people who have the clout. Those are the people who have the wealth and the clout. What is their moral obligation towards the society? According to me, that is the,
Mr.
by and
Bhakti,
large, what public morality
the word
means.
morality itself means that which is deemed right.
Okay.
wait.
I'd like.
If I have to read off Wikipedia, it means
I'd have to
manner.
cut you short here. I'd have to cut you short here and say we'll give you some more time to express your opinions. I'd propose a 1 minute closing statement from each participant of each team to encompass their stance of argument and what they are trying to say all throughout this debate within 1 minute. We would start with the proposition and then go to the opposition and again move to the second speaker from the proposition and then opposition as per formal procedure. And after which, please do not leave the hangout as we will be posting the audience questions. And the audience questions, as usual, the answers have to be sent to the Debate Club page on Facebook, www.facebook.com/BateCMC, or to the Debate Club email ID, which is the debateclub.chennai@gmail.com. Please send it. We need one answer per team. So I now request that the one speaker from the proposition begin the closing statement.
I'm Raj Bagdi, and I will give you the closing statement. To sum up the whole thing, I would like to say that public morality is what, in my view, is the responsibility of the government, the corporation, the lawmakers, and the public servants. And I feel that this public morality or these laws in place which govern the public officials is quite irrational, and it is illusionary, because despite the laws being in place, despite things happening, despite there being clear crisp laws, there is no semblance of any honesty, no semblance of any uh, uh, honesty at all. So that is why we strongly feel that public morality is an illusion, and the regulations based on it is all irrational. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request one speaker from the opposition.
Yeah, I will speak first. See, my name is Navneet, and this I would like to say that this house strongly believes that public morality is not an illusionary concept. That laws based on it are not are rational. This is simply because of the fact that till now we have not, as human beings, we have not been able to find an alternative to base our laws upon. Number one, right? Which means till now it is the best method to base our laws upon. And all laws till now have been rational. The inability to maintain these laws lies in the inability to enforce them, not in the incompetence of these laws. Which means the laws still remain rational. Which means the irrationality is not in question as of now. Number two, right? Now let's, as I said before, for the benefit of doubt, say that the entire system itself, that public morality itself is illusory, right? As I said before, there is no alternative method to take its place. Then how can we base our laws, right? Therein lies our entire argument. Without being able to propose an alternative, a comparison rather, how can we prove that this one is irrational or illusionary or whatever? We have only one system in our hands, people, and it seems to be working fine in my view. Why question what we have?
Please conclude, sir. We'll have to answer.
No, I'm done. At the end, what I'm trying to say is that public morality does exist, and the flaws in the system, which the proposition seems to constantly point out, repeatedly stating the corruption of lawyers and politicians, and rape and scams, is simply because of the inability of people to follow these rules. It's the inability of the enforcement of these laws, not the competence of these laws themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to request one more speaker. There is the next second speaker from the proposition.
Yes, I think my partner Raj Bagri has pretty much summed up what we actually like to state, and I would also like to point out the fact that when we try to be publicly moral, it takes away the essence of democracy. The essence of democracy is the freedom and liberty to everyone. So when you take into account public morality, it restricts people, and it restricts people of their choice, and they don't really they can't really do what they want to, even if it doesn't harm anyone. So and also the fact that public morality and the fact that public morality is we have public morality now, and we have regulations based on that. They are simply not working. These whatever you if you have laws based to prevent rape, it is not working. It is there are still rapes happening everywhere around the world. So if it's not working, it is irrational.
But the laws are there.
The laws
People
are there, but they're not working. So what?
It's
What
the
is the
inability
use
to
of having?
enforce them, not the inability of us to make these laws, right? So you're questioning the system, not the law itself.
Excuse me,
Okay,
but I
I'd like to say, yes, there's no rebuttal here. Please just finish your statements.
Okay, so yeah, and I would also like to state that regulating using public morality, it just takes away the freedom of people. So yeah, we definitely believe it is an illusory concept, concept, and yeah, it is irrational.
Okay, thank you, sir. I now request the final speaker from the opposition to give his closing statement.
Okay. The main thing is the public morality is one thing I think which defines democracy, which allows most of them to voice their opinions. So I think we are not exactly in democracy pushing the minority down. We are discussing, so it doesn't mean that the others are not taken into view. And also, again, I am stating the same points that as the proposition didn't understand that the law enforcement is weak, not the law itself.
Okay, sir. Thank you
And
so much. Thank you so much. That concludes our closing statements. And now we will move on to the audience questioning. It has come to my attention that our judge has some final comments to leave. Sir, Mr. Farhan, you may.
All right. So it's just one simple question towards the opposition. All right. So the question goes as this. Now, consider for multicultural countries, okay, like countries like India as well as the United States of America, based on what culture would you base a certain law that is in the best interest of the people?
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
All right, so I'll repeat. For multicultural countries like India as well as the United States of America, all right, based on exactly what sort of culture would you base a law that is in the best interest of the people?
See, we don't base rules on culture. We base the
culture,
laws
exactly.
upon what a majority of people vote on, right? When you elect a representative, you put your faith in that person, right? And isn't that what public morality is? You're putting the public as a whole puts their faith in that one person. That one person will bring out 5, 6, 100 different laws, right? And it is up to the people to change that person when they deem him unfit. Which is why even the high-range politicians are still open to being arrested. Right? No one is free from the law. Everyone is still under the eyes of the law.
All right, one final comment, just in general. I think Mr. Bagdi said that my views on prostitution, homosexuality doesn't come under public morality. But I think that since the society is involved in such acts, and for the fact that you and I make the society as such, I think this comes under public morality.
And also from the organizing team, I'd like to add that the judge is one of the people who was integral in the making of this specific topic on which we are debating on. Yeah. Please go ahead, sir. Very sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no problem. I think I'm done. I'm just done. I'm eager to listen to what the audience has to say.
The audience questions can at least be posted right now. I request the debate club team to do so. Other than that, this brings us to the end of our debate for today. And for that, I applaud all the participants for the brilliant points being put up. It was, at the end of the day, a brilliant debate. And amongst the rest, I'd also like to say that some of the points raised were points which were not even brought up during the debate finals, which was held in 2012. And
ironically won by a member of my school, but okay.
Pancha? I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
No, you were saying, I said it's ironical that it was won by a guy from my school, and you just continue. It was just a side comment.
Okay, yeah. And it was in all accounts a brilliant debate, and it's only sad that this is the final debate of the Summer Debating Madness for this year. But fear not, the Summer Debating Madness group, it's the debate club's vision that the Summer Debating Madness group stays active throughout the rest of the year till Summer Debating Madness 2, and that the same group of debaters keeps meeting up and keeps in touch with each other, so that
definitely
this was amazing. Can go on at the end of the day. So this is something that we could do from the debate club's point of view. I'd also like to announce that the winner of this debate will be winning multiple vouchers from various companies and will also be receiving a cash prize and also exclusive opportunity to participate by being the audience and playing a very integral role in the Debate and Changemakers Conference 2014, which is to be held on the July 18th and 19th. So it is an open invitation to all those in the audience to come in as an audience for the Debate and Changemakers Conference finals on July 19th. And this will be held in the TAG Auditorium in Kilpauk and will begin at 10 a.m. So please come in and watch our debates. This is our 5th edition, and we will also be having the finals, which involves teams from Bangalore flying down. So thank you so much.
See you guys at Bait then.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being brilliant participants. It is come to my attention that the questions from the audience will be sent to the participants from the debate club page.
Just a question, when will the results be announced?
The results will be announced since we also have this system of likes. we will be announcing the results. We will be giving a 2 to 3 day gap for the likes to amount, and then we will be announcing the results.
Public morality. Thank you.
I really appreciate this effort,
and also-
I would
and
like
also-
to thank the
and,
organizers.
Thank you so much. And also, since the point about public morality was brought in, I'd like to also say that the likes only account for 30% of the points for this debate, since this is the final.
The finals, yeah. But the previous one was 75, which is why I posed my point at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
understood.
was just saying.
Understood. Thank you so much, all the participants. Please keep in touch. And this is, for the last time, the Debate Club, organizers of the Debate and Changemakers Conference. Thank you, and
Thank you so much, and see
Thank
you.
you.
See you on July 19th, right?
Yes, sir, in the Tag Auditorium. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. Wait, you guys are Bharati Vidyalaya, right? Kirpak.
Bharati Vidya Bhavans.
Bharati Vidya Bhavans, yeah, Kirpak.
Yes, sir.
I was actually at your school yesterday.
Yes, sir, and I did meet you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Thanks all. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir Raj. Thank you so much, Mr. Rohit. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Farhan.